Okay, today I'm going to teach you about distance, speed, and time. Distance, speed, and time. Now, distance. If you read a word problem and it's asking for distance, does anybody know what words they would ask you to find the distance of something? Okay, so when you are reading a word problem and it says, how far, ... When you read how far, it's asking you for distance. How far did the train travel? How far did you walk today? Okay? So distance is how far. Now I'm going to ask you, what kind of unit do we use to measure distance? What unit do we use to measure distance? Miles? Feet? Inches? Yards? Meters? I got inches. One more. Millimeters? Okay. km. What does km stand for? Alright. Thank you. So, distance is measured using miles, feet, inches, yards. And depending on what we're measuring is the units that we use. For example, if I want to know how far, I want to measure how far the train travels. Which measurements should I use then? Miles, maybe yards, kilometers, yeah. Now, if I were to ask you, how far did the snail crawl? Centimeters, inches, millimeters, right? Would I use miles to measure the distance for a snail? Right. Okay. Unless it's turbo, you're right. Speed. Your notebook should look like mine. Let's go. Speed, when you read a question and it says, how fast, you are being asked to find a speed. What unit do we use? Miles would be a distance. Okay, I'm looking for speed. How do we measure speed? Miles per, hold on. Miles per hour. Abbreviated, it would be MPH. No, this is how we measure speed. Speed is measured by miles per hour. What else? Kilometers per hour. Now, these are not the only ones. If I were to measure the snail, we said what, centimeters? So we can go, oh, how many centimeters per minute, per hour? We can change these. We're used to saying miles per hour, but we can say how far did the snail crawl per second, right? How many centimeters did it travel per second? All right, the last one, distance, speed. Last one would be time. Now the question that you will read is how long? Minutes, hours, years, days, seconds, months, years. Right. So, right. We can continue making a longer list, right? There's many ways we can measure time. But what I want to pay close attention to is the question will say how long, and kids will think, oh, is that a distance? How long? No, when it says how long did it take you to walk home? Right? 5 minutes? Okay. Okay, now there's formulas for us to use to determine distance, speed, and time. If I want to solve for distance, then we use speed times time. Write it down. These are your formulas. Yesterday, Alex, I taught you one formula. Mu minus old divided by old. Today, I'm going to teach you a total of 3. The first one is distance equals speed times time. The second one I'm going to teach you is the speed. Speed is equal to distance over time. And the last one I get to teach you today is time. Time is equal to distance over speed. Write these down. These are the 3 formulas that you have to memorize. If I'm asking you for distance, then you have to memorize that you have to do speed times time. If I'm asking for speed, then you have to remember that it's distance divided by time. And if the question's asking for time, you have to remember that you have to divide distance divided by speed. It's 3 formulas you got to memorize. Now, there's a trick to memorizing all 3 of them. Paper. Okay, taking this paper, we are going to be creating a triangle, so pay attention. Take this corner, good, and you're going to fold it down to here. You're going to line up this side to this side, so take the corner and fold it over, and then line up the sides. Line up these sides right here. So you end up with something that looks like this. Now, this extra piece right here, this extra rectangle, we're going to fold it up. Fold it up. So this extra little piece of rectangle, you're going to fold it up. So you end up with something that looks like this. Okay. Now, I'm going to open up the triangle and fold that rectangle up now. Open up the triangle, fold up that rectangle that you already folded. You're like hide it inside. Then you fold back the triangle and the rectangle is hidden now. You fold it inside and then you fold it back. So the rectangle is inside. William, how about you help him? All right. Okay, taking your pencil, holding your triangle as such, you're going to write distance, then a division line, speed, time. This triangle is actually going to be used to solve these problems, and it's going to help us remember these three formulas. Okay? So, if the question's asking you for distance, what you do is you cover up the D for distance. When you cover it up by folding it over, you're left with speed times time. Now, what if the question's asking you for speed? What letter should you cover up? The S. No, you cover up one letter at a time. So I'm going to cover up the S. Now what am I left with? I'm left with distance divided by time. Now what if the question's asking you for time? What letter do you cover up? The T. And then you're left with distance divided by speed. Okay? So this triangle helps us remember these three formulas. Whatever the question's asking you for is what you cover up. You only cover up one at a time. Okay? So let's go ahead and do a problem in our notebook. Have our triangle near. Okay. We're going to say, write this down. Nathan rode his bike for 2.5 hours at a speed of 11 miles per hour. How far did he go? Write it down, please. Gentlemen, I need you to write this down without any comments. Okay. What is the question asking you? Okay, what is it not giving you? What is it asking you to solve for? How do you know, Ernesto, that it's distance? So circle that. So it's asking you how far. So that means, turn around, distance. So what letter am I going to cover up? The D. So therefore, distance is equal to S times T. If you cover up the D, you're left with S times T. S stands for speed, T stands for time. So now I'm going to plug in your numbers. What's the speed? Good. What's the time? 2.5 hours. Good. So I get to multiply these two. I'm going to multiply them on the side. 2.5 multiplied by 11. Go ahead and do that. No, careful. Good. Now, listen. Okay, Nathan and William, please do not shout out. Okay, I'm moving it one time. So your distance is equal to 27.5 what? It's distance, so what unit am I going to use? Miles. Now, on here, when I said distance, did I write down miles per hour? No, right? So when you're doing distance, you're picking one of these. Now, do you just pick one of these, whatever you want? No. You got to go back to your problem. Why did we say miles? Right there. It says miles per hour, so guess what you're using? Miles. Whatever the question says, or uses, I should say, you use. All right. Next problem. Ernesto traveled a distance of 120 miles at a speed of 60 miles per hour. How long did it take him? The question is, what are you solving for? How do you know it's time? Exactly. So we're going to circle this. How long means time. So in my triangle, what letter do I cover up? The T. So I'm left with distance divided by speed. What's the distance he traveled? 120 miles. 120 miles. What's the speed? 60. Now, do we remember the trick with dividing with zeros? What do we do? What's 12 divided by 6? 2. 2 hours. How do you know it's hours, not minutes or seconds? Because of that H, you use hours. Once you cross out those zeros, you don't put them back. It's just 2. All right. Jorge went for a 105-mile ride. It took 5 hours. To travel this distance. How fast was he going? So, what am I solving for? How do you know speed? Good. So circle it. It says how fast, so that's speed. So, good job. When it comes to your triangle, what are you going to cover up? The S. So what are you left with? Distance divided by time. All right. What's the distance? 105 miles. What's your time? 5 hours. So I'm going to divide it out. 105 divided by 5. Good. 21. So your speed is 21 miles per hour. Good.